Hello and welcome back. We're going to be jumping straight into a video on how to use Figma and correctly design your emails for your e-commerce store. So here we just have some examples from fashion stores that are big high street names that you're probably going to see walking around your retail shops. So these emails, especially the Zara one, it's not necessarily a bad email. It's designed very well and it fits with their brand. However, there is things which are going to be performing a little bit less, and how we'd actually redesign it to make sure it's a high performing email and it's going to be fitting with the audience, the general audience, and I'm going to be going through the points of why this email is going to be low performing. Although the email is very well designed and it does look sleek and it does fit Zara's niche, there's no actual call to action button. So this is their new arrivals email that was dropped on July 25th, going through what they're releasing for summer. So as you can see, summer framed. These buttons are super tiny, these view buttons, and it's not actually a button to... It's not actually really a call to action of any sort, really. It's just a little view button here. Also, as you come down, these images, they're quite staggered and they don't really have any form. If you look at the email as a whole, it does just look really random. Obviously, you have these three here, and then some images in between. There's no really like hierarchy or order to this email whatsoever. And again, there's no real call to action buttons. There's just the view button here. And even here, you'd be surprised the amount of people that don't realize that you can actually click on images on emails. So just having a little call to action button somewhere nearby would definitely increase the click-through rate, because as we all know, the main job of an email is to get people from your email to your website and eventually converting them into customers. So before we get into the details of how we actually design the email in Figma, I'm just going to show you a quick design of what we've put together on what we think will perform well for Zara. We're not taking any discredit away from their design, because obviously it really does suit their brand and it does follow the pattern of their website, etc. So here I'll just quickly chat GPT'd the fonts that they are using, and for some reason this font here, the summer framed, actually isn't even on their website anywhere. So one thing I did find is they use this font 𝐉𝐸𝐽𝐻. I'm not too sure if it's the actual real font, but that is what has been pulled from their website. So what we have done is instantly added a shop now button describing what is going to be involved in this email, because you've got to remember these emails are going to be almost split up in a way. So let's say this area is probably going to be what's seen on your mobile. So straight off the bat, you're going to see it's new arrivals and you have a call to action button to click straight on. Then as we scroll down the email, we have some form of balance. So we have two images, one image, two images, and then it's just flipped on the other side. Also, the text as well is flipped as well to mainly congregate around this middle area. We've also included their footer as well. As you can see here, it's really crammed. So the buttons, I think, especially on a mobile phone, if you're trying to click, let's say, for example, Shopify or TikTok, I generally think that your fingers are probably going to, especially me, like sausage fingers, you're going to click more than one button. So yeah, and especially as well, emails are technically targeting people to get onto the website. So by putting your social medias on there, it does kind of distract them from purchasing. However, it does obviously build up brand reputability. So here we have just included all their socials just to keep it the same as what they're kind of offering. And then we do have their footer as well, which they've described in images. So that is pretty much a breakdown of why we've made them changes and why we think this email will perform better. We also have the call to action buttons underneath the images and the view collection here for the new collections. One thing as an agency we're really big on is testing what you're actually putting your CTA button as. So here we have shop now. We could also have things like view now, change it up differently, and then you can run A/B tests and see which actually performs better click rates with your audience. So if we just jump straight into redesigning this email, you want to press F straight off the bat, and then what this is going to do is going to design you a frame. So typically the width of emails that especially used on Klaviyo and mobiles is 600 width. So if we just go onto the right hand side of Figma, and you can see here dimensions under layout, and then you want to make that 600. So if we just simply drag this all the way down and make it a similar sort of length, and then now we're going to be going through how we actually make an email design on Figma. So typically, if you're working with a brand and you're an agency, or you are a brand yourself, you're obviously going to have some form of logo that's going to be designed prior to that. So I'm just going to quickly copy and paste this, because obviously it is something that the brand is an owner of. so we don't need to make anything from scratch ourselves. Images, we tend to use stuff which is based off of their website. If not, brands do make custom content, and we have content packs which they send over and we can use for emails. We also do send over a list of like kind of what content we need to see, so we can structure our emails and make them nice and designed beautifully. Again, I am just going to copy and paste this image over to here. Make sure we have a nice bit of even spacing in between the two. Before we get any further into the email as well, the one thing I do want to mention is if you press Command and R, what that's going to do, I think in Windows it'll be like Control and R, it's going to bring the rulers up around your workstation. What I like to do is if you drag over onto the vertical ruler, you can drag a line, and what you can do is at the top of the screen you can see it says 300. So obviously half of 600 is 300. So we know this line is then going to be the middle of the email. I don't see a lot of people mention this on their tutorials. So that's one thing I like to start off with, purely because we can center everything and make sure it is obviously going to be dead central of the email. Again, here we go. Here's obviously things are a lot different because I am just copy and pasting it from this email, but I'm going to be going into obviously how to use everything. So next bit is text. So if we just press T on your keyboard, what this is going to do is open up a text box. If we just drag and drop and go new arrivals, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make two different text boxes, so keep things separate. So this font is 𝐉𝐨𝐢𝐧. If we just go into that, you need to actually make sure to select the font. You need to select all the text, come over to the right hand side and go on typography and change the font in here. You can also go through and change it to make it like regular, light and bold. Because this is one of the headers, we're going to make this one nice and bold and increase the text size to, let's go to 40. Let's see what size text is there, 60. So if we just make this all 60, you can do Command and A or Control and A, and what that's going to do is select everything in the text box, 60, and make that there. One thing I do find really important as well is you don't want to make, I like to keep my text boxes like to the width of the text themselves, purely because I feel like sometimes I have had issues where when I try and line it up in the middle, it does kind of like go off to the side, if that makes sense. Next, we do have the little text box underneath, so I will just skip to me making that. So just over there, because it's like a little subtext, we're going to go on to regular and change the font size down to 20. One thing I do just want to quickly throw in there as well, emails are very subjective to what actually your brand is offering. So one email design and style works for one brand might not actually work for your brand. So it is a matter of testing and constantly improving to make sure you're actually getting the results that you need to get from your emails. A lot of brands, they do just set and forget even their flows. So even as little as changing the delay times, your call to action locations and buttons can definitely improve your rates from your emails. So the next stop is the call to action button here. So if we just quickly press R, this is gonna open up the rectangle tool. So one thing you need to make sure is if we go onto Zara.com, again, you need to make sure this is congruent throughout your brand. So let's go onto one of their products. I'm just going to skip to that now. So the product doesn't actually matter on this page. It's just we're more interested in this add button here. So obviously this is going to add it to the carts for you to purchase. As you can see, it is just a hard rectangle with sharp corners and capital text in the middle. So we need to make sure that the buttons we are putting on this email are the exact same as what they're using in the shop, purely just to keep everything smooth and all the same throughout. So as you can see here as well, I'm going to show you some Photoshop skills as well. As you can see, it's kind of cut out around it and it's hovering over the Shop Now button. So I'm just going to jump straight over into Photoshop. And as you can see, we have the image here. I'm not actually a Photoshop nerd, so I could be completely doing this the most difficult way or the longest way. So bear with me, but this is what I find works for myself. So if we go onto the top bit, up to the top, and you have select, and then you want to go on to select a mask. Obviously, I'm already in this bit now. At the top, you're going to have this lasso here, and you want to press the positive. So what this does is it will go around and it will highlight the images what we're keeping. So one thing that what does help is if you zoom in and there, and then, so yep, jump back onto the lasso tool, and then what this is going to do is going to highlight images, part of the image of what we're keeping. So you do want to be careful and make sure you're not like going slightly over, because it will bring up some of the background. Even around here, you can see areas that it's brought up. In this case, this isn't really too much of a worry, purely because the bit we're only overlapping is the model's head. So up here is completely fine. So if I just click done, as you can see, it has kind of butchered it, but you get the point. If we just tap it again, making sure not to go past the edge of the model. So just a little bit of playing about, and you can make that look a whole lot neater. So if I zoom out a little bit, we can just see how it looks a lot better and neater. So one thing I will just throw a little disclaimer, these images that have got like real life backgrounds, they're not on like a clear, like my background right now, it's not like a clear one color. It does make it an awful lot difficult to cut the background out. So I'm just going to quickly copy and paste this image from there. So here we have the images perfectly overlapped and everything looking nice and smart. One thing you can do as a good practice is if you click on one image and then press Shift, click on another. And then if you press Control and G or Command and G, this is going to group the two together. So you can just move it around as one and they don't like fall apart from each other. And also if you pressed Shift and these arrow keys, this is going to shrink or enlarge the image and keep its natural like formatting, because if you do stretch it, it's obviously going to look pixelated and all crappy. So if we just go back and on there. So as well, one other issue as well when designing emails, if you have a look on the left hand side, you do have the layers tab. So this frame 3 is what we're working on now. So as you can see, frame 3, everything here under this drop down is what is in this frame. So as you can see, group 1 is at the top. So anything underneath this is not going to be visible. So what we need to do is bring this down to there, and everything is popped up to the front. So what we can also do as well, one thing maybe I shouldn't have done is group these models two together, purely because this rectangle does need to go behind the model. So we have just chucked that there, right there, and our text is in the middle as well. So with this being underneath, we can obviously ungroup this and make it obviously different to suit. So if we just click back onto the rectangle, we want a black button to match the borders. Also as well, you can see we have highlighted this with a little white border, and how we do this is, again, if we press R and we draw a rectangle, we'll make this suit in a second, and then we delete this. If we go onto this little minus button here in the right hand side, if you see where fill is, and delete the fill, and then underneath we go on stroke and then change this to white. What this is going to do is just going to delete the whole fill of the box and then just give you this little white button here. And then if we just zoom straight in, we can make this fit. And then just to double check, we can center that as well. So I'm just going to copy and paste this text, because obviously we've gone through how to, again, we've already gone through the text. So I'm just going to quickly copy and paste this across. So again, these images were scraped directly from the Zara website or even the email. So if we just copy and paste them over here. The one thing about fashion emails is that they do tend to try and stay quite simple, and there's not a lot of graphics and design which goes into things, so we don't really want to overcomplicate things in general. Again, we've already gone through how to make these buttons down here, so I'm just going to copy and paste them. One thing you do find when you start building emails as well, you do kind of start getting some good habits of, like, when you make your call to action buttons, you can just have them at a side and then copy and paste and bring them over. So one thing what we have done with the text here is, if you come to the right hand side and go under typography again, you have space in here. So as you can see, it's, you know, overlapping or is space in the images. So to make this kind of not too big of a font but still span the width of the email, we've just increased the width of the space in between the letters. Again, we can literally just copy and paste this word for word. So one thing we do recommend as well, actually on Klaviyo, you can make a reusable block. So you can have all your footers the same. So you only have to make it and import it once. So you can literally just drag and drop it straight in from your side menu into your main menu on Klaviyo. So as we mentioned before, we've already done the text. So we'll just copy and paste this across. However, these lines, what we can do is you literally just press L and you can just draw a quick line like this. If you press shift, it will just hold it all horizontal, or it will just go to the vertical, so 0 degrees, almost 45, and then obviously straight flat. So I will just copy and paste all this in general. So the text emails, the Spotify icons as well, you can literally just download these off of Google. There's nothing design work that goes into that in general. We just have typical like logos and stuff we use, and it's just in a file that all the designers have access to. So that is pretty much how you go about planning an email using Figma. So obviously this email is not related to your brand, and it's not how we do things for your brand, but it's just us doing a quick redesign of what things have, how we'd improve Zara's emails. So if you have made it this far as well, I'm just going to analyze and show another redesign we've done for another brand, Aristotle. So as you can see, this email is crazy. There's so much going on in this email. And again, we're not discrediting them whatsoever. We are just kind of highlighting facts of how we would improve these emails. So straight off the bat, we do have a little mini menu at the top. So we have women's, men's, jeans, and clearance. In my opinion, we don't really run these types of menus at the top of the email purely because it does almost look like a website, and it takes it away from the fact that this is an email, so it's informational based, obviously, to funnel them onto the website. So that's number one, which would change. So we just remove the top and have a clear logo. Secondly, if we look at this email as a whole, there is so much going on in this email. There is so many links, it's clickable links. There's a buy one get one free discount here. There's a $6 and up clearance, and then there's a 15% off downloading the app. There is so much going on in this email. Even if I was to click on it, I literally would not have a clue what to do. So being as this is at the top of the email, we just took the buy one get one free jeans. Secondly, to notice as well, with this being at the top of the email, we zoom in, there is polos, there is shorts, and there is cargo shorts. With them selling this buy one get one free on jeans, they're literally advertising things which aren't even jeans. So that's a great way to funnel people to your website. They're literally just chucking everything at them. So we have another discount here and then another discount here. So what we've actually done is we've just focused on the buy one get one free jeans. So I think the denim shorts did come under the discount. So we've included 2 for women and 2 for men as well, with clear call to action buttons to shop and take them straight to that product. As well, since this email is a promotional email, we have the shop now deal, which is going to take them straight to the discounts and what's available underneath this buy one get one free deal. Even at the bottom, we have just included the download app, which is going to give them 15% off. So we have kept this at the bottom of the email because we don't want to disrupt their buying process from jumping on the email and then going straight through and purchasing on the buy one get one free for the jeans. Again, literally we have just copied and pasted their footer just to keep things simple, because there's obviously stuff in the small print which is going to be things that comply with their discounts and stuff like that. So we've kept that all the same. And we've also have included all their socials. Again, as I mentioned before, testing this is probably a good thing. Removing socials from the bottom of the email, because the main objective of the email is to funnel people from email to website to purchase. So all this is going to do is probably distract them. They're going to go click your Instagram, and then next minute they're looking at what their friends are up to on their stories. So if you want to keep a nice clean funnel from email to website, I probably would consider removing socials, or definitely slimming it down just to like the main 3, like Instagram, Facebook, and potentially TikTok. They're probably like your main 3 social medias for brands. So if you have got to the end of this video, I want to say a massive thank you for watching, and I hope you found this useful. If you have got anything that you're unsure of, please feel free to put it in the comments and I'll get an answer over to you quickly. Again, if you are working as a brand and you're looking for developing your emails for your brand, let us know and use the link below to book a call, and we can give you a free audit. And we'll also chuck in a free design of an email to show you how we'd actually structure running the accounts for you. I'd appreciate if you could drop a quick like and subscribe on the channel, as we're new to this email, to the YouTube thing. So we are trying to gain a little bit of traction. So if you want some weekly uploads, feel free to subscribe and like, and see you on the next one.